host of the Gridiron.
All right. Well, now we got the Giants defense versus the Steelers offense. Now, the one thing is with, they got a couple nice players, right? But it's not the greatest show on turf. I mean, Wilson's a nice guy. Najee Harris is a decent running back. The wide receivers don't have a ton of receptions. Let's see if this page will load here for me. Doesn't look like it wants to. But what to expect when the Steelers have the ball. So we got some stats here that matter. Giants defense gives up 21 points per game. The Steelers offense only scores 23 points per game. Passing, the Giants give up 179 yards. The Steelers only get 180 yards passing per game. Rushing, the Giants give up 138 yards per game. And the Steelers get 134 yards a game rushing. Giants only have gotten 6 turnovers all year on defense. Not good. Not good. I mean, the thing is like we're getting the sacks, but now we're not getting the turnovers. But the Steelers have only given up 4 turnovers all year long. Very good at protecting the ball, I'd say. But this page here finally loaded. Here we go. But if you, let's see. This is the statistics. Where are we at here? Here we are. All right, you got Pickens leads the team with 31 receptions. So, I mean, what's their record? 5-2. So they're 5-2. They win with their defense. 5-2. And actually, as I said, that Cowboy game that we went to, it was the Cowboys won on 4th down. It was all or nothing on his final play. They had to score a touchdown. Dak hit Tolbert in the front corner of the end zone. If he didn't make that catch, the Steelers would be 6-1. So they don't give up many points. They only give up 14 points a game. So the Giants probably ain't going to score many points. But I said, so in the 7 games, right? I mean, their top receiver, Pickens, who does average 15 yards reception now, he has 31 catches. So he's averaging 4.5 receptions a game. Actually, their top receiver catches 1 ball a quarter. Freiermuth has 24 receptions. He has 3.5 receptions a game. You know, I mean, other than that, they got a guy who has 11 catches. Somebody else has 10. Somebody else has 10. Warren, their running back, has 10. Najee Harris has 14. So, I mean, they got, they got a lot of guys involved. They got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They got 7 guys who have double digits in receptions. But a lot of them have 10, 11 receptions. You know, I mean, they don't. I mean, what do they got here? Completions. 123 completions in 7 games. What is that? 18 completions a game. Even less than that. About 17.5 completions a game they have. I mean, they don't have. Once again, we're not talking the greatest show on turf here. Yeah, they do it with their defense. Yeah, their defense shuts the other team down, and it gives their offense a good chance to win the football game. I said the Giants have a tough time, very tough time, scoring points. But, oops. All right. So you got the Giants will travel to the city of the bridges to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers on Monday Night Football. Giants enter this week 6.5-point underdogs on the road in primetime. The Steelers, meanwhile, are coming off a strong 37-15 win over the Jets. The Steelers head coach threw the NFL a curveball last week with the surprise decision to replace Justin Fields with Russell Wilson at the quarterback position. The decision to start Wilson changes the dynamic of the game considerably, and it also changes how the Giants have to defend the Steelers. While Wilson doesn't have Fields' arm strength or raw athleticism, he does have a wealth of experience, and at his best is a better passer despite not having an elite arm. Stop the run. The voice of Tom Coughlin still echoes through the Giants stadium. We're going to stop the run and play great defense. The Giants have been playing great defense, but they need to work on stopping the run after the Eagles ran for 269 yards. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. The presence of Justin Fields and therefore his rushing ability has meant that the Steelers have been a more effective running team than passing team so far. However, their effectiveness on the ground remained after the switch to Russell Wilson. In fact, the Steelers had an 84.2 success rate when starting their series with a run. Wow. As opposed to 55.6% when starting with a pass. So, I mean, if they can, look for them to take a page out of what the Eagles did and run the football. I mean, it's just nothing is more embarrassing than not being able to stop the run. It's totally embarrassing. To flatten and simple things out, NFL offenses average 6.1 net yards per attempt and 10.8 yards per completion. By contrast, league-wide, the NFL is averaging 4.5 yards per carry, and only one team, the Baltimore Ravens, average more than 6 yards per carry. Viewed through that lens, it makes sense to pass more than run on first down. On average, you're in a better position for second and third down if you throw than if you run. However, the Steelers' offensive line tends to be better at run blocking than pass protecting, and they have a good lead back, Najee Harris. Giants' best bet for slowing down the Steelers' offense and preventing big plays will be to stop the run early in the series with neutral or light boxes. That will allow them to keep more players back in coverage to frustrate Wilson and prevent the Steelers' receiving options from finding open field. The Steelers don't have many dynamic receiving threats. I mean, Pickens is really good, but I mean, this is one of the weakest offenses we've played against so far. I mean, as I said, you look at, obviously, the Cowboys have a nice offense. I mean, of late. I mean, when we lost to the Bengals, right? I mean, they had Higgins, right? Chase, Burrows throwing the ball. Again, last week with the Eagles, they had all their weapons came back. When the Eagles didn't have their weapons, when Brown was out and Smith was out, they lost. So the Eagles need to have their weapons. If they have to go to their second string, forget about it. They're going to lose. But I mean, I said the Eagles were at full strength last week. The Bengals were at full strength. I said when we played look, somehow we slowed the Seahawks down against Metcalf and Lockett and Jigba. Right, we slowed those guys down. Walker, they only ran the ball like 7 times, sometimes, But I mean, as I said, the Cowboys got a good offense, and so we've gone up against some very, week 1 with Jefferson, right? And the Commanders, Daniels has really elevated that team, So I mean, so we've gone up against some very good offenses. I mean, this is it certainly does not mean the Steelers won't put up 20-something points on us or whatever. Certainly doesn't mean that. But I mean, as far as just like looking at it, the explosiveness of it, and all of that, you just don't see it with the Steelers as much as you do with some of those other teams. I mean, you can see with the Eagles, they're running, they're passing. You can see explosiveness there, right? I mean, with the Bengals, I mean, maybe not the greatest running game in the world, but you got Burrow throwing to Chase and Higgins. I mean, you can see some explosiveness there. I mean, this team here, as I said, my son and I, we were there a couple weeks ago when the Cowboys played the Steelers on Sunday Night Football. We went to Pittsburgh. We drove there. We stayed overnight, and we saw the game. And it was just very, they scored 17 points. Yeah, but with about 30 seconds to go in the game, the Steelers were up 17-13. Why? Because they got a good defense. Their defense keeps them in the game. Now, their defense gave up a touchdown with about 20 seconds to go in the game. A fourth down, it was all or nothing. Fourth down, I think, at the 4-yard line. If the Cowboys don't score a touchdown, the game's over. The Steelers win. But Dak completed a touchdown pass in the corner in the end zone, right? But so they only scored 17 points, but they only gave up 13. The week one, I forgot what it was, against the Falcons. They went on the road. They only, all right, let's see. What was the first score? 18-10. I mean, they only had 270 yards of offense, but they only gave up 10 points to the Falcons. So, but they scored. I mean, their offense, they won 18-10. They won 13-6. They beat the Chargers 20-10. Then they lost to the Colts 24-27. Why? Because they gave up a lot of points. And they lost to the Cowboys 20-17, the game I was talking about. But then they started rattling on. The past 2 weeks, they put up over 30 points. They beat the Raiders. They put up 32, and then they put up 37 against the Jets. So the Jets, we know, have a very good defense. And somehow the Steelers put up 409 yards of offense. But I mean, he goes back to the Steelers defense. The Steelers defense has given up 15 points, 13, 20, 27, 10, 6, and 10. So, I mean, you can easily see where the Giants are going to be a tough, very tough, trying to score some points. So the Giants are going to need to keep the scoring down. I mean, they're going to need our defense, right, to keep us in the ball game. There's be nothing worse than being down by multiple scores and having to throw the ball. And if they can just tee off, right, and go back and just play defense, guard against the pass and all, we're playing right into their hands. I mean, because how many turnovers? I mean, the week one here against the Falcons, what do they have? They had 3 turnovers. How many sacks? I know they had a bunch of sacks. I mean, they were all over Cousins. I mean, what we got here? I don't know, they sacked them twice, but they had to hit him a bunch of times. What was it? Turnovers. They picked off 2 passes. They really rushed them. The defense did a phenomenal job against the Falcons. But the Steelers want to base their offense on the run. They back that up with a methodical passing attack that tries to synergize with the run. I mean, they don't, from what I can remember, they didn't take a ton of shots deep. A lot of the stuff was short. I mean, they ran the ball a decent amount. There was a lot of short stuff. I mean, Justin Fields was the quarterback. Russell Wilson was on the sideline. That game that we saw. They want to try to. The problem is, if they try to attack the interior, right? That's where Sexy could hopefully take over, right? If there's one area where the Giants have a clear and decisive advantage over the Steelers, it's on the interior of the offensive line. That's where the presence of Sexy gives the Giants an advantage over almost every interior offensive line they face. But a cohesive offensive line group can work together to mitigate a great defender. However, the Steelers don't have a perfectly cohesive offensive line right now. They're without rookie center Zach Frazier, who is playing at a very high level before he suffered an ankle injury in Week 6. The Steelers are also without guard Nate Herbig, who I mentioned in the injury report, who was set to be their starter before being lost for the season to a torn rotator cuff. Let's see. The Steelers are also starting 2024 fourth-round pick Mason McCormick at right guard. So the interior the Giants should have an advantage there, especially when it comes to hope against the run. So they might want to quite possibly try to maybe go around the outside, right? As far as with running the ball, but the Giants definitely should have an advantage. The Steelers' offensive line hasn't played poorly, all things considered. They were able to hold up against a talented Jets defensive front. But this is the kind of circumstances upon which the Giants have feasted all year. Reserve center Ryan McCollum didn't have a great game, but he played relatively well enough against elite competition in his first regular season action since 2021. He's quick off the ball and is able to create movement when he gets to the second level. That said, the Giants excel with mixing pressure, simulated pressure, and stunts along the line of scrimmage. Yeah, we're going to need a big game, from Bernsey, from Ojolari, from Sexy. We need a big game from those guys. Giants will attempt to use their post-snap coverage rotation and pattern match rules to slow down Russell Wilson's process. That will give the Giants time for their pass rush to develop, and they need to prioritize attacking that inexperienced center-right guard combination. As of this writing, we don't know how much the Giants will get from Lawrence or Brian Burns, but it looks like they're both playing. They can't depend on Lawrence to be a one-man wrecking crew in the middle, and it should have a plan in place to get Nacho, Elijah Chapman, DJ Davidson, and Jordan Riley into the act as well. Chapman in particular could be a very useful piece due to his compact frame and rare athleticism for the position. The Giants can use Davidson or Riley as an anvil, while Nacho or Chapman attack into the backfield. We should expect Wilson to process the Giants game along with the line of scrimmage quickly, and for the Steelers to have answers built into their plays. However, disruption up front, when combined with swarming play from the secondary and hustle from the defensive line and linebackers, have been the key to the Giants' defensive success. Well, I mean, we better see something from Banks. I mean, that dude better have a rocket up his butt, hustling to the ball, doing whatever he can, take down the ball carrier, whatever he can do. I mean, we better not hear any more reports of that guy, slacking or taking plays off or not giving his all or nothing like that. I'll tell you what, if I'm Dable, and this season's going down, I'll tell you what, if the season's going down, I got the guys on my back, the season going down, who are playing, who are giving it the raw. I don't care if I gotta go to a kindergarten school and pick somebody up off the kindergarten who's going to give it the raw. I don't care. I am not putting somebody on the field. I don't care if you're first rounder. I don't care what you are. You're on the bench. You're not dressing. Whatever it is. If we got to address this one more time with Banks about taking plays off or not giving his all or something like that. We got to address this one more time. Guess what, dude? You're missing a game. Right? And then it just starts doubling. Right? Now we'll bring you back, go out on the field. We got another issue. Well, not cost you 2 games. Then the issue, not 4 games. And the issue, it's half a season. You know what I mean? But I tell you what, every man to the ball. And this game would be huge. We get, keep Wilson in the pocket. He's not, the most nimblest of foot. Hopefully we get some sacks on him. But, getting some turnovers would be huge in this game. Absolutely huge in this game. But like I said, the Steelers, it's just, it's like methodical, right? They do a decent job moving the ball, but it's nothing super spectacular. It's their defense, which keeps the score low, which gives their offense a chance. You give almost any offense, especially any offense, right, that doesn't turn the ball over, they score some points, especially if your defense doesn't give up many points, which they don't. They just hang around long enough, and their offense usually just outscores the other team. But they don't have a phenomenal offense. But It doesn't mean that the Giants won't make them look like the greatest show on turf with the Rams or something. You know what I mean? So, but.